What is happening out there, my friends in YouTube land? This is yours truly, Rockin' Dave, the real deal. North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. And I'm so glad I'm able to stream live from my phone. The last few gigs, we've been able to do this from my phone. Otherwise, we'd had to stream it from Deb's phone for whatever reason. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I'm just going to do this. I won't be on too long. I just want to kind of update and what's going on down here. You know, now we got this tropic storm that's happening, and you know, we are doing a recovery and we're getting better. But this morning we found out we got a little bit of leak in our bedroom, a little bit. Not a whole lot, but a little bit, but enough that, you know, we already are going to have the roofer come out and replace the roof. So the deposit's down, we're on the schedule, so we're just going to keep that going. And it's a good thing that we decided to do that, because you see, you don't find out things till after the effect of these storms. And as everybody knows, Hurricane Ian did so much damage down here. It's just unreal. Last week we went to Fort Myers Beach, and I recorded everything on my Zoom Q8 camera. I was going to try to stream live, and I totally forgot about it. But then at the same time, I thought, well, probably there was no signal to do a live stream down in that area. So, but I did record it on the Zoom camera, and it's like down the main street, down that main road, San Carlos Parkway, that whole strip. Everything that was on the beach, minus the hotels that were brick, they still got destroyed, but nowhere near as bad as some of these houses and these restaurants, man. There's like nothing left except debris and sticks, and it was just, man, just horrible. We are getting a little bit of wind gusts and some rain that's coming off and on. I thought I seen some people up on the chat. Old Man Dan, what's happening? Good morning. I hope all is well with you, brother. Janice Lala, I hope everything is doing well with you. We really appreciate all your guys' kind words. And hey, Janice, I thought I heard that you had a birthday not too long ago. I just want to give you a happy belated birthday, and hope that you're enjoying yourself. And I think I didn't get a chance to read some of the comments on my last stream. I got to go back. You see, on my phone, they don't come on until like later, sometimes a couple of days. For whatever reason, don't know. But Yeah, I understand your frustration, Janice, with some of the gigging world and things of that nature. Um, it's like you're always selling yourself, no matter what. Doesn't matter how good you are, how established you are. You're constantly selling yourself. It's a never-ending battle, and um, I'm very blessed and fortunate that Deb handles a lot of that as well as myself. I'll make the phone calls, but it's a little different for us down here now because we lost about 75% of places to play at. But regardless, no matter where you're at, you're going to come up against a lot of tough selling. You really are. It's you get run into bias, and I don't like harping on that, but it is out there. Just be prepared for that. Which reminds me, basically, I'm going to touch on something really, really quick. I'm not going to hark on this. I saw some sort of an ad, a video ad, but for musicians, and it was scoring good gigs that will pay, and mostly are on the private sector, whether it's corporate gigs, a wedding, or anything private, they will pay, and I thought it was good to see that ad. The only thing that I noticed, now maybe I didn't, maybe I need to see other ads, so I'm not going to try to say anything negative about it. I'm glad that they're doing this because they're showing people the alternative. But in this particular ad that I saw, I know they want to keep it positive, and that's great because we need that to keep going positive. But hopefully they'll have another ad that will get a little bit more in depth, saying that okay, but just keep in mind you will be up against other people in the bidding wars, But it's not just the other musicians that you're going to be competing against. You're going to have these people that are actually doing the hiring. They're reaching out to us, and these are the people that will say they have this budget, and their budget could be anywhere from $100 to $1,000, or sometimes it's $50 to $300. You're going to find it's going to be in all different ranges, and that is the reality. And obviously, people are going to go for what they want and try to get it for as less as they possibly could pay for it, and that's the reality. So hopefully they'll put another ad out pertaining to that, so it doesn't really mislead anybody. But other than that, I thought it was pretty good because they're giving people the reality to see what is happening. And I'm going to touch on this also, is that we're starting to see a burnout. And when it's the same, cover songs being played over and over and over again, when the general public who don't even play, they couldn't tell you a high E string from a low E string and gauge and tuning pad. They couldn't tell you any of that. All they just know they like to see, musicians play, or they like to hear live music. It's getting to the point where they're even saying that, wow, we're hearing the same music played by all these bands. They're all playing the same stuff. We're getting tired of it. So they're looking for a little bit of an alternative. And I think that's very healthy, and I think it's very good for the cover bands to start to hear this, because you have good musicians within these cover bands, and they could start to open up their doors and say, hey, you know what? And we could take some B-sides and maybe do our own spin on it, or we could start having our music that we've been writing and we've been putting it on the shelf, and let's just start putting that into the playlist. Some people have been doing that, I noticed, down here. And it's good for the general public, because put it this way, they'll never know about your music if you never play it. And kind of the concept that we've been taking is we're doing our live gigs, and if you think in terms like this, we're doing like, how radio stations do, they play all the same songs, then you go to another radio station, and then they start playing a song that just got finished being played at another radio station. So it's like it's the same set list across the whole entire bandwidth. Well, when you're playing live with your originals or some of your the covers that people don't really play, put that into the playlist and make it like you're the radio station. You don't have to announce, but like a radio station, like a DJ or anything. But just put that in your playlist the same way these radio stations put those songs in the playlist and go out there and play them. Because I'm gonna tell you, you're not gonna please everybody all the time, but you're gonna get some of those people that are gonna say, "Oh wow, this is different. This is pretty cool. I like this." And believe it or not, you'll get people that talk with these restaurant club owners. You get the complainers, but you also get the people that say, "Hey, this sounds great, man. Last time I was here, they were a good band, but we're kind of burnt out because I saw another band play at another place and they're playing the same song." So it kind of opens things up. Now, what I did hear on the news, Deb and I heard this about a week ago, where they were talking about the restaurants that have been taking a huge hit down here that just completely lost everything. And now they're looking more to maybe go into the food truck business, not the roach coach, but the food truck. And this has been a little bit of a thing that's been going on for quite some time. People buying food trucks, and they go to, whether it's a farmer's market or they go to a festival, and they just camp out there, and then they sell their food, and they make a good profit. When we were doing the farmer's market in Cape Coral a few years ago, this one guy I was talking to, he just bought his truck and got it all decked out. And, he sells all kind of sandwiches and that. And I asked him about, in a nutshell, his startup cost and that. And he goes, "Yeah, we still have a startup cost. We got to finance the truck if you can't afford to pay it outright. And the insurance, and then you got to have it safety tested. Then you got to have the inspectors, food inspectors, and all that. And some places will require a license to go to those areas. Like some people who do the busking, you got to have a license. In some cities, you got to pay for a license, like a permit, to go out to play." But the guy was saying, in the long run, it's actually better doing this than being stuck to the sticks and bricks building, because sometimes you're stuck to a year lease, sometimes a 2-year lease, and then your insurances and everything. And then if business is slow, you're kind of stuck there for a year or two, depending on how long your lease is. He said, with this concept, if business is slow, I could go somewhere else. Now, it's not going to replace the dining in. Nothing will ever replace that. But there is this surge of interest, and especially because of what has happened down here, especially on Fort Myers Beach. All those waterfront restaurants are completely gone. So I could see where an idea, I'm not saying this will happen, but I could see where this idea gets kicked around and say, "Hey, it's going to cost us X amount of dollars to rebuild all these." When people get together and they're rebuilding, they sit at like I call it, the Knights of the Round Table. They sit at the table, and they start planning things, thinking out, what idea do you have? What's your idea on this? And what do you think about doing this? And what do you think about doing that? That would be a little bit cost efficient, where we could still bring back our tourists. And I think that's why they mentioned about the food trucks, because my guess, and I could be wrong, but my guess would be is if they take that whole area by what used to be Times Square, which, man, we missed that. Times Square, and then by the pier, and if they were to designate that as, okay, well, we could have this as an open area, and then we could have all these, if these people are interested in this phenomenon with the food trucks, they could come in here, they could rent, by a week or by a month or however they want to do that, just to get people coming back. And, maybe the city of Fort Myers Beach, they could be the ones supplying the chairs or things of that nature. So that'll be part of the rental. And then, the musicians, there's no stages or anything. You just put them in a corner somewhere and just have the, music being played. And I know it sounds far-fetched, but the reason why I'm saying this is because the cost of rebuilding is just astronomically expensive. You know, when we went down there, the parking lot that's there, they have an area with we have the restrooms. That's still there, but it just got a little damaged, so I could see where they could, fix that up. Um, and that could be designated for if they were to do something like that with the food trucks. There's your restrooms right there, and enjoy the beach, enjoy your food, and enjoy the scenery, enjoy the music and things of that nature. Because there's a lot of these restaurant owners, man, they put their all into this, into having that beachfront restaurant, and some of them, it's like it's so hard to come back building, and it's not just financially. That's a big part right there, but there's also the mental and the emotional impact, And then there's that guessing. Oh my God. Okay, so we got the insurance, but does it? How much does it cover? Are we willing to dip into our savings again and do this, knowing that this could happen again? We could have another, bad hurricane hit us. Or what is our options if we want to stay in the food service industry, in the restaurant food service industry? Maybe there's this other option with the food trucks. And you'll start talking with people that are already doing this, and it could start yet another trend. Like I said, I don't think it'll ever replace dining in, but it is a very strong alternative. So people who do want to get back into it do not have to dip in so much into their savings as they did the first time. Maybe I should, when I get some time, sit down and talk with some of these people, just if they want to share, what their thoughts are. I'm only saying this guessing wise because we have played at so many of these restaurants and club, like a lot of you people out there. You see, and it's not just in an area like down here in Florida or Midwest. You get the hurricanes, and up north you get those horrific snowstorms. Of course, no one's going to sit outside unless people really want to sit outside in cold weather. In the ski resort areas and that. I mean, there are people that do that. Not good for the guitars, though. That weather will destroy your guitar big time. But because this has been kind of something I have noticed, and I put it on the back of my mind, and it's been like this for a while. People getting into the food trucks. We did one of the gigs at Camping World about a year or so ago, and this lady, she had just bought this small little trailer where it is having teas and coffees, but she also I think she got her liquor license, and she was able to serve liquor. And it looked like the equivalent of a teardrop camper, if anyone knows about RVs and camping. Little tiny camper with, it's got in the back has got like the kitchenette area, but it's decked out to be a beverage trailer. And when we were talking with her, she said she had just got into the business 7 or 8 months prior to the event we were at, and she's been seeing herself making a profit. Now, part of that is because she got the liquor license and selling the liquor. I understand that. But you'd be surprised how many beverage trucks only serve teas and different, flavored teas and different flavored coffees, and that, because not everybody likes to drink. I don't drink. I've never drank that in my life. So not everybody likes to drink alcohol. So it is an alternative. Now, how is that going to affect the music? Well, that could affect us as equally, but on a positive, where we don't have to feel that we're trying to, sell ourselves to some of these restaurant and club owners that are already strapped with a tough budget. And that is the reality. Their budget is tough. I want to see if I catch up. Hey, Sean Aaron, what is happening? Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, you're very welcome, Janice. Very, very welcome. Guitar Shocker, how are you doing? You know what? I just got on your channel just before I was going to go live, and I think you were doing a live stream. I think that was you. I got to say, man, your playing is fantastic. You are so melodic with such a great tone, such a great sound. It's just very inspiring, very very inspiring. I love watching people play, and I love watching what their thing is. You know, because everyone has their own differences, and that's really what I think keeps things fresh and moving forward. Let's see, but yeah, and I subscribe to your channel too. Lisa, what is happening? Yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Yeah, I have today off because my driving gig, when the winds are more than 35 miles an hour, we cannot take those buses out. It's deemed unsafe. And there's still debris laying on sides of the streets. So it's gonna take a while to clean up all this mess. So if we get these wind gusts and it starts blowing things around, it's just too dangerous. It's just too dangerous. So let's see. Yeah, let's see. All I record is original music. I do it for myself. If people like it, cool. If they don't, that's cool. Yeah, Sean, that's the best way to be because you have to love what you're doing. Now, that being said, and I'm gonna make sure I read everyone's comments here. Our gig last week was our first gig at the University Village Shop Square by the college in Estero, which was deemed South Fort Myers and into the beginning of Estero, Florida. And we did our gig, and we're outside between two restaurants, and people are enjoying themselves, and not everyone's gonna like what I'm doing, but that's cool. That's fine because it's not for them. They can still come up to me and talk. I don't take any of that personal. But there was a guy on the other end when we were done playing, and I went to the car to start loading stuff up, and then I just wanted to go down and compliment him on his playing and that. And yeah, he was saying that he's been doing this gig for a while, and he misses his band and that, but his thing is he loves doing the covers because all he ever wanted to do was play in a band, and that's his passion. So I figured, well, hey, that's great. And he was so cool about it because he was not trying to convince me that I should sing and I should do these covers. Really, if you could see that a person is passionate about something, it'll show when they're playing. Just let it be. The funny thing is, no one goes up to, when you do these art festivals, no one goes up to the artists and say, you know what? You should paint like Picasso. See, he was successful, and if you do what he does, you'll be successful. And then he goes, you should paint like this, or you should do this. No one does that because they seem to accept the visual arts as it is. And the same with movies. If you were to take the concept of cover band syndrome and apply it to movies, all you would be seeing is a constant cover of the movies we've already had. Same story, everything. Nothing changed. The same. You'd have like maybe 20 or 30 versions of Star Wars the same way. 20 or 30 versions of, I don't know, Alien or Jaws. Or, of course, you can never really duplicate the first Jaws. That was unique. I think it's because they had a very low budget and they were short on time. But anyways, people don't like that. They want to see something fresh and new. But with the music, for whatever reason, it's like they don't open themselves up to it unless you do something that's different. And then it's like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. Or I've had people say this that don't like the kind of music that I play, and that's fine, but they'll say, I'm not into that music, but I had fun watching you play because you look like you love what you do. And that's the key. That's how you could win an audience, is just really enjoy what you're doing. So, and that being said, Sean, yeah. Same with, Old Man Dan. When he puts his videos up, he's playing. He's playing. Same with Guitar Shockers. The videos I've been seeing, you're playing because you love it. Now, I think the camera on this is like, sorry guys, that's not me doing this. If you see this kind of pulsating, I think it's a little bit of we're getting a little bit of wind. I don't know why this is doing this. But I do apologize. Yeah, I see YouTube as a time capsule. One day I'll be gone and I can leave something that's exactly it. You just nailed it. I think that was said the best I've ever heard it said. It is a time capsule, you know, and there is going to be a future generation, providing this technology is still up and going, and I think it will be. That they're going to see this, and they're going to be like, after we're long gone, in their minds, we would be, I don't know, maybe the Janis Joplins or Jimi Hendrixes or, Led Zeppelins or Beatles or whatever, you know, in their minds. You see what I mean? What people will look at, no matter if they like a person's personality or a lot or not, that's irrelevant. But what they will look at is your passion for what you do and your ability to bring that forth. You know, I love doing the shredding thing, but I love playing very melodic. And the stuff that I've been doing lately, it makes me feel good. And it works for these places that I'm playing at, because I don't think, if you're going to be sitting down in have a nice, casual dinner with your spouse or a date or whatever, that you want to hear 3 hours of Eruption constantly being played. It's just not going to fit. So if you have the ability, and I love, Eruption and all that, but if you have the ability to play these different styles of music and know exactly where to fit it, you'll always find work. I just want to put it that way, you know. But that's how I look at this too. People will look back and say, "Wow, this person's I love their music, and they're a great musician." Let's see. Uh, my ordinary songs are songs that I have been in my life since I was 12. Yeah, see, that's great, Janice. 12 years old, that nobody has ever heard before, but might not have an audience. But oh, I'm sorry. Uh, but you know what, Janice? Here's the thing. If you don't play that, it'll never have an audience. That's just it. There are times, there are times when we put ourselves out there because we love what we do. That's got to be the first thing. And when I've heard people in the past say, "Oh no, it's not about you and that." Well, part of it, I hate to say this, this is not egotistical, but part of it is because you're the one that's playing it, not the audience. And the funny thing is when a person is playing their favorite song, their favorite cover song, and it's, the audience is their favorite song, what made that person like that music? It's the way it sounded. Okay? So it gets played a lot. But for the musician, if how the artist that they covered, how they were able to make that breakthrough, besides, we could say luck, but luck really is having someone with money, and if you have the money, well, then you're the lucky one. And if you're smart enough, you know how to market yourself and, rent out places, do your ticket sales, and push your product. Because when it comes down to it, my wife Deb said it best. When it comes down to it, it's a product that you're selling, and it's how well you sell that product, how well you present that product, and that's it in a nutshell right there. Even though it's artistic, it is still a product. Now, but the artists that people cover, how they made that breakthrough, besides with the money and having the talent, is they put they put their all into writing their music, or had someone write the song for them. But at some point, they started breaking away from covers and they started doing originals. And they started saying, "Hey, this is in the style of these covers that I've been playing for so long, but yet this is like my music, and I want to take that chance." And so, it doesn't matter if you're playing originals or covers, as long as you're passionate about what you're doing. But if you're a creative person, don't let someone tell you, "No, you have to do this and you have to do that." 'Cause I've been in that situation, and I think those people will say that because they love playing covers, or they try to convince themselves they like what they're doing, and deep down they don't. And I've had one time a guy tell me, well, at least I don't have a day job. I don't have to work a day job. Okay, that's fine. But now you put yourself in a situation where you have to hustle. And you're playing the same stuff that anyone else is playing, that a club owner could say, well, why should I pay you X amount of dollars more when you're playing the same stuff that someone else is playing? And I could take a chance on them. Although, if you're bringing in a crowd, yeah, I do want that because I want my business to, you know, thrive and everything else. But, and then another thing is, like what had happened with Hurricane Ian. Now, what's going to happen on the East Coast, a lot of those places, they're going to lose some places to play at. So what's the backup plan? Because it's going to take a long time for these places to come back up and going. Some of them are. They're on a trickle, but I understand. It's going to be a slow process because, you know, they got to take care of their best interests first before they take care of me, you know. And some of these places you might be doing on playing on for tips only until things get up and going. When people say about, well, they got insurance, yeah, you got insurance, right? But then you have to take a look at how well, what exactly you're being covered, okay? And I'm just gonna leave it at that because I'm not trying to knock anybody or anything like that. But the selling point is one thing, the collecting point is another thing, and there is that reality. If you are not prepared, you might think, yeah, I paid into all this insurance, all this money, so I should be able to collect 100%, and then you find out you're collecting anywhere from like 55 to maybe 75% or maybe 85%. There's something that is not fully covered, and it's got to come out of your pocket. So therefore, now you got to start cutting your expenses, and you got to pay. If you're a restaurant / a bar, you got to pay the suppliers that come down that deliver the beer, or if it's a food company, deliver the food before the music, because you're not a music venue, you're a restaurant. So I've had this conversation with some of my colleagues. Some of them, they understand totally. They totally understand. But there's some that really don't, and they think the restaurant owners are ripping you off. And if you think they're ripping you off and you can prove they're ripping you off, then just walk away. That's all you got to do. Just walk away and leave it alone. Because you see, a person that's ripping off, you know, the old saying, what goes around comes around. And it does. But don't put yourself, you as a musician, don't put yourself in a situation where you look at a place and it's remodeled, right? Beautiful. Boy, the decor is absolutely beautiful. You look at the menus, you see, wow, look at the prices. This is kind of deemed high end. These people have money. How do you know? Because you see, when you see something that's remodeled, that means they had the money, it just got spent. Now they're going to try to make up that money on the food. And when you look at some of the food prices and the drink prices, and you see all these high prices, it doesn't mean that everyone that's sitting at those tables is buying that high-end drink or that meal. See, I've had these conversations with some of these people, and they're like, okay, yeah, but you don't understand, Dave. I've been here, and that's fine. You've been here a lot longer than me. I'll give you that. I'll respect that. But there is a reality. That's why you got to have multiple streams of income. You got to. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Joe Winch, a project. Joe's a great guy. My Deep Cut Rolling Stones. Oh, yeah. A lot of this, there's a lot of great stuff that's out there. And you know what? Even if it's something that is not really for me, my taste, I respect it because of the work that went into it. And it is good music. If you put it this way, you know what a good song is? If it makes you feel good, that's a good song. If it makes you feel good, hey, it's good. There's just something for everybody out there. Yeah. Rebel Rocker, how are you? Yeah, he is. Yeah, Guitar Shocker is a great, great player. Very musical. Hold on, Janice. What do you mean Guitar Shocker? Yeah, Janice, there's a guy that's got a channel called Guitar Shocker. And he's usually playing a white Steve Vai model guitar with a black backdrop. The videos I've seen so far. So yeah, very, very, very good guitar player. Uh, oh yeah, thank you so much, Rebel Rocker. You too. You be safe and enjoy the rest of your day. Really appreciate it. Joe, what's happening? How you doing, brother? Everything is all right down there, brother. Yeah, Joe, you too. I think they said that part of the storm might head into the South Carolinas or up the East Coast, but it should die down because now it's crossing land. I mean, as it crosses land, it starts to slow its pace. But I'm hoping it doesn't start to stir up tornadoes or anything. It's like, geez, you can't win from losing, man, you know? And hope you're all doing well, Joe. I think you had your second surgery. So I hope you're doing well, brother. Yeah, Pooh Ninja, what's happening? Maybe it's time to. I'll tell you what, Pooh. Thank you so much. You know, yeah, you think about things like that. I'll tell you what, man. That was our first time going through an actual disaster where we actually got hit. And we actually saw the damage, felt the damage. Not, with 10 days with no power. Thank God that first week there was no humidity. But the second week it was starting to peak up. And uh, Deb got that generator and we started getting those fans going, man. Oh my God, we had to circulate the air, you know. It's too hot. It gets way too hot down here. And there's people in Fort Myers Beach, they still have no power. And it's been over a month. So, and again, we want to thank everyone that did reach out to us. Man, we appreciate it. We appreciate it. And also a good special out to our first responders down here, our linemen. They got the electric up. You know, some people are trying to bash them. I'm like, you know, how could you bash these people? We would pass by some of these areas that were these huge parking lots, and you'd see all the bucket trucks, the electrical bucket trucks just parked there. Hundreds of them, man. You know, and they get out there, and you don't know how. Obviously those lines are wet. They got special gear to handle that. But even that special gear, man, you you don't know if something gets live, you get shocked, electrocuted. It's just the way that is. So let's see. I might have to bring my little cord out here. I just got a flat. Michael B, what's happening, brother? Awesome. Let me go ahead. My phone just flashed. I got 15%. So let me go ahead and I'm gonna grab my charger and get that up. In the meantime, I'm just gonna put this right here. Hopefully we're done with a little bit of these wind gusts, man. We'll be right back. Okay. Go in the house, I'm constantly looking up at the ceiling because we did get a little bit of water coming in, and but it's not bad. It's basically the same as it was this morning. Well, I'll tell you what, man. These people that designed some of this stuff, it's like, really? How the hell are you supposed to see it if it's facing down? I'll put that there. So far, it seems like it's dying down. But then we get a little bit of a wind gust and then it picks up. So let me see if I get this here. There we go. Let me check out the chat. But yeah, we got 2 shows Saturday. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, he's got a gem. This guy, Guitar Shocker. I think Joe Lynch still has his Ibanez gem. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it, Michael. Hey, Buckler, so what's happening, brother? Dave, get a boogie board and surf in the streets after these storms. Yeah. It's amazing how the homes in your community held up. Oh, yeah, after Cat 4 again, yeah, but there are some. When we put these videos together, you're going to see some of the damage. And it just like took like this house next door, for example, it would take some of it, it's like the whole side's completely gone. It's just like the roof is stripped down to the bare wood. It's just horrible, man. And then we got more videos of downtown Fort Myers Marina. And then last week, we got some video footage at Matlacha Island. And we went inside Yucatan's where I was playing at. And that's kind of gutted out, but they had already started working there. What helped that building, it's all concrete. So it's a concrete structure, but everything else that was in there just got destroyed. But they're already in the process of cleaning that up. So we should be up and going, playing there. Or they should be up and going, getting open maybe by December, maybe January the latest. But when we went, yeah, hear that wind gust. When we went to Fort Myers Beach last Sunday, there's an area where they got these huge fishing boats just piled on one on top of another. And I'm talking, these are big boats. I'm like, holy crap. Because you get that storm surge, all it does is washes everything up. You see? So I think we were going through the eye of the storm. Now we're catching the backside of it. But see, it's going through the center of Florida. You know, I should get my watch. Because see, my phone here, well, it's probably about 9 o'clock, 9:15, something like that. They said we should be done with the storm around noon. So we still might see some. Now, the storm might pick up a little bit. Let's see. But yeah, it was, they said on the news that Hurricane Ian was the worst one in this part of Florida. The worst one either in history or since the one that hit in 1935. Yeah. So we got a guy that's going to be coming out to do our roof. We're on the schedule, so this could take a while. And On the other side of the house, he'll do the gutters and the fascia and the roof. On this side, we got to get a separate company because here we're sitting in the lanai, and this is all aluminum. And there is another company that only specializes in this aluminum part. But the guy that we hired to do our roof for the house, he only specializes in these homes. He doesn't do any other type of homes. And we thought, well, that's good because I'm not trying to say anything bad about these other people, but if they're not sure about something, then you're paying again, and it's the inconvenience. So we just don't want to go through that. So. Right now I've got the Breedlove acoustic. I haven't played this in a while. You know, for me, when I'm doing the shredding on the acoustic and you're playing very staccato, it seems that the notes just pop out right there because there's nothing, there's no sustain. So there's nothing to carry those notes over. When I play the electric, I could still shred in that, but it doesn't, to me, have that same impact like it does the acoustic because of the solid body and the overdrive and that sustain. So that's why a lot of times I'll combine the shredding with a lot of the melodic playing. You know, sometimes doing a couple of whole notes and just letting those notes hold and sustain because it just happens to fit whatever chord progression, or that's what I'm hearing in my head. But, you know, the acoustic guitar is a different animal than the electric guitar. And they both coexist. So, and of course on this guitar I got the Roland synth pickup on, and my other one, my BC Rich Warlock, I got the synth pickup on there as well. But yeah, this is just how things are down here for right now. We got these 2 gigs tomorrow. One is for the Chamber of Commerce in Cape Coral. We're going to be at a place called Latitude 78. And we're only doing 2 hours, so we're doing 3 to 5. And so far it's supposed to be, we're going to rock out a lot more because it's going to be more in that vein. But you see, things could change, so that's why I always prepared. And then, or not tomorrow, it's Saturday we're playing. Tomorrow's Friday, so it's Saturday. And then Saturday evening we're back at Jungle Bird. And doing our regular show there, and you know, hopefully there's not too much damage. Now you can see this guy's fascia, you know, blowing up there. I think that's the worst damage he had right there. His roof is fine, or at least he said they didn't have any leaks or anything, so his roof is fine. But see, you don't know because it's when the water hits a certain, all it takes is a little tiny pinhole. And it starts building up water, and then that's little by little you get these trickles. I think that's what happened with us, because we just noticed it this morning. All the other days we had no problems. So get that. So I'm gonna see if I could zoom in a little bit without going too crazy. You know, notice that this stuff goes crazy. Well, see, I got the screensaver on here. No, it won't do it. Yeah, it won't do it. There's another video I seen where this guy was talking about the tone is not in your fingers, it's in your hands. Well, yeah, I could kind of agree with that. Your fingers really only play notes, but see, if you have a lighter touch, it's, well, the note will just die out. But you see, your tone could still be in your fingers because with your picking hand, you could either use your pick. Now if I pick lightly with the pick, I still hear the sharpness of tone. Now if I do it with my fingers, it's definitely a rounded tone. I'll use my fingernails really mostly on the nylon string guitar because the steel strings just tears the fingernails up. And because the classical and the flamenco style is a big part of my playing, I don't like to tear my fingers up. And you could use fingernail hardening and all that, but over the course of time, it just ruins your hands. And it's over a course of time when it does that. But there is, yeah, it's both hands, of course, working together. Exactly, Michael. Exactly. That's what it is. They both have to work in conjunction with each other. If not, then you ain't gonna get any sound unless if you don't have a picking hand and you slap your hands on it. You have to plug in. There would be a way you can do that. If you play legato, you'd have to build up that technique. Just build it up over a course of time, and it could take months. It could take years. Everyone is different. How they build their technique up. Everyone is different. So one is not better than the other. For me personally, I worked very hard for my alternate picking. I wanted it that bad. But my natural way of playing is usually with my fingers. Classical, flamenco style. To me, it sounds much better on the nylon string, especially with doing like Astorias, Landa. It just has a different tone. That's all. So. But yeah, it looks like the storm dies down, it builds back up, it dies down, and builds back up. So we should be okay. And as soon, like I said, as soon as this stops, like around noon, I gotta put those fans. I got two of our construction fans just facing the ceiling, just drying out those two areas, and then we'll put the AC back on. What they were telling people to do when we lost power. We lost power down here during Hurricane Ian. They were saying, make sure your circuit breaker box, the main circuit is off. You have to shut it off. What we did, we shut all of ours off, so that when the power does come back, you're not gonna get these power surges, because some of these places were catching fire. They're like, oh great, we got power, crank up the AC, and boom, you get this surge power, and then some of these places would catch, electrical fires. And a lot of these houses, they're using like Romex for the electrical. They're not running the wires through conduit. So They're older homes. There was a different code. Building codes were different. So they were able to go with cheaper materials, and so you just gotta be careful. But let's see, guys. Yeah, I know my let's see. I know my tones are limited because I don't use a pick. You are right about the roundness of the tone. Yeah, yeah, you do get that. You get a certain tone. It's a very warm and round tone. And I'll tell you what, Janice, when you're trying to emphasize a certain passage of notes to evoke an emotion, it works great with the fingers. That's why you'll see some of the electric guitar players even, put the pick in between their fingers, whatever, and they'll start picking with their fingers. Roll down the volume if they're using any type of overdrive just to bring that little subtleness. It does make a difference. As opposed with the pick. There's a piece of music that I've been working on. It's gonna take a while because I have to spread it out. Been searching for it I can only find it on YouTube, where someone actually got some of the sheet music and actually put it's in a notation because it's really a piano piece. The piece is called "The Romantic Warrior" by Chick Corea in Return to Forever, and it's a really really cool piece because it has this. It's got this. To me, it's just got a certain depth to it. But the soloing that's through there and the rhythmic sections that these changes goes to, it's great. I think it's great. And to me, with fusion and progressive rock and classical, what I like about those styles of music, it's almost like it paints a picture with sound. It's like you're looking at a movie scene, and here's the music to fit that. It's just very creative, and that's what I was brought up on when I was a little kid. My dad used to play motion picture soundtrack, and about 98% of that, I want to say about 98% of it was all classical music. So it was music that just, you close your eyes, you could envision things. Oh, you have the album "Romantic Warrior." Yeah. That's that album, and that's the first time I heard jazz fusion guitarist Al Di Meola was with that album, and then Al Di Meola's solo album, "Elegant Gypsy," and I just graduated high school in 1981, so it was the summer of '81, and obviously those albums were recorded in the mid '70s. And there was no one playing like that. It was like it blew my mind. But it wasn't the fact that he was so fast and everything. It just had so much like muscle, It was very melodic, and it wasn't like always over the top. So it was very musical. But there's certain sections on the tune "Romantic Warrior." I think you got the very beginning part where Chick Corea he's arpeggiating, I think, a D minor chord. I could be wrong, but I have to do a little research on that. But the acoustic melody, I think, is. And then, it goes on for a few little pieces. So when it starts to kick in rhythmically, I think Stanley Clarke is doing, which is a G to a C to a D, G, C, D. And then the next part is the open E, F sharp, and B. And then next part I gotta work on. But the main riff is this. So this little riff is on your A and D strings. Note-wise, it's D, A, G, F on the A. Yeah. D, A, G, F, D, F, D. That's that little. Then it's C, D, E, D, C, D, E, D. So that part is, the whole piece is. I could be wrong a little bit right there. So it's on the 5th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret, and 3rd fret. It's in that region right there. But it's a notation. So here's the advantage of understanding how to read notes. You don't have to be a fast sight reader. Just look at the notes and you'll be able to figure out where to play those chords. It's really not that hard. It really isn't that hard. But it's such a great tune. Oh yeah, Jean-Luc Ponty did that. Janice, you listen to the same musicians that I used to heavily listen to when I got very heavily into the jazz fusion thing. Oh man. Yeah, I had a Jean-Luc Ponty live album. I think I got that in 1982. And I had some of his cassettes. Mirage, I think it was. Cosmic Messenger. And even Santana. There's a couple of Santana albums. Boboletta and Caravanserai. But Boboletta definitely was starting to get into more of the fusion. That's when you really hear his playing, where it's just very melodic, but yeah, it's just all this going on, He knew how to make it fit. And that stuff never gets played. Never gets played, There used to be a time in some of the rock stations back in the day, they would play some of that stuff late at night. And then for the musicians, we'd all tune in like, oh yeah, this is the stuff right here, man. This is happening, And then we get inspired and we get all our ideas from. There is a Santana album called Marathon. I think it came out in 1979. It has a song called All I Ever Wanted Was to Be With You. I think it was... Let's see. I can't remember now. There it is. I think it's this. Something like that. But there's a song on there, on that album called Aqua Marina, and it's this chord progression. This is arpeggiating a G major 7. Pinky's on the 5th fret D string. 3rd finger is on the 3rd fret 3rd string. Middle finger is on the 3rd fret 2nd string. Index finger is on 1st string 2nd fret. And those notes, low pitch to high, is G, B, D, and F sharp. So that song, Aqua Marina, kind of gave me the inspiration to do the song that I recorded called Inspiration. So that's really where I got that from. But yeah, that whole era, it was so bizarre because I'd listened to that, then I listened to the when metal was really starting to come out, and the shred metal, and all this other stuff, just soaking it up like a sponge. Yeah, I use fingers on electric all the time. I have been addicted to all the harmonics I can create all over the neck with touching strings with thumb and picking absolutely it with the first finger or second finger. Yeah, classical style. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, Han Solo, what's happening, brother? Thank you for tuning in, man. Thank you so much, and thank you for reaching out to us. We really appreciate that. We'll send you guys some messages now that we're getting more of our connection back. But yeah, Hans, I know what you're talking about, and like a classical style. This is really where the pinched harmonic idea is borrowed from, although it gets called a pinched harmonic because we're using the pick, you know. But what you're really doing, let's say if I'm playing a G, you know, on my low E string on the 3rd fret, it's hard to hear it on the acoustic. You know? Basically, you're striking the string with the pick, and then the flesh of your thumb is hitting that note. But if you were to do this, just like you're saying, you're playing the harmonics with your fingers. You're like basically using the finger to touch, but you're using the thumb to strike, if that makes sense. So a lot of times I'll use my middle finger to strike the string and my index finger to lightly play over it. It's like a bell tone. Of course, when there's no ambient noise, you can hear it better. You know, and it's a really, really cool way of playing. But on the electric guitar, it just really rings out. It's just like creates this whole different sonic platform. You know, it's just great. Exactly. Yeah, Janice. Yep. Yeah, thank you so much, Hans. I really appreciate it, man. Yeah, Jeff Lober Fusion. Yep. Yeah, I remember all that stuff, man. Oh my God, Weather Report, you know, Return to Forever, Al Di Meola's solo albums, Stanley Clark's solo albums. You know, Jeff Beck. At first, I was getting into the Jeff Beck stuff because when you're in high school, you see nobody was telling me about any of this stuff because it was you want to look cool, you know. But the problem is with only looking cool is when you want to get good, it's like that doesn't matter. You just want to look cool. And to me, it's like, no, I want to be a good musician. I want to take it further. See, some of my friends, maybe they got into it for different reasons. But when I started playing, I was 11 years old, and to me, it just like, it was painting. I used to draw and sketch and all that. So playing music was a different alternative to drawing and sketching. Instead of visual, now it's like audio. So to me, it's like painting pictures with sound. So that's why the fusion, the classical music, and the progressive rock bands, they appealed to me more than the pop bands because it was more on that creative side. And I know it could be a harder sell for the clubs, okay? But when we were doing when we were doing all our road shows, we'd get hired because basically of the originals. When we were doing those road shows, it was basically 100% original music I was playing. They liked the way I sounded, they liked the style of music I was playing, and they were saying, no one else is doing that. And plus, when it's your own music, that's only where they're gonna find, if they hire you. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not knocking anything else, but there's always two different worlds out there. There's something for everybody. Not everybody likes pop music. Not everybody likes instrumental music, and we all coexist. It's just bizarre when I have these conversations with some of these people. They look at me. That's why I don't tell someone I play instrumental music. This is what I play. This is what I do. And then if you like it, fine. If not, no big deal. But if you try to sell yourself and you tell them, oh, I do this and I do that, yeah. See, this is what's hard. This is the hard on the selling part because you don't know how they're going to take it. You just go ahead and lay your cards on the table. This is what I do. If it's for you, that's fine. If not, no big deal. Or if it's a place you really would like to check out and play, and you kind of keep things on the hush-hush, you don't reveal everything. You just say, yeah, I'll play this, I play that. But see, the key word is I play. I don't sing this, I don't sing that, I play it. But I'll just come in, yeah, I play this, I play that. It's when they hear it, it's so different. And either they like it or they hate it. And that's even with the club owner. They'll say, yeah, but you don't sing. I said, I never said I sing. I said I play. It's live music, I play this. See? So then they can't turn around and say, well, you promised me you were going to sing. I never promised anybody I would sing anything. It's just how you word things. And if it's not for them, that's fine. There are some places that will do a one and done, or there's some places I check out and it's like I'm not interested in playing, so I don't even pursue it. And then my other friends that they want to play at every single place that's ever been open, even the ones that are not open yet, they want to play at. And then when I tell them that's really not me, then they'll say, "Well, then you're not serious." I'm like, "Well, of course I'm serious. You know, we were able to travel, we were able to do all this other stuff with it. We walked away from solid income, and we were living off our music. So you better be serious." But they mean well. They just don't understand. Uh, have you ever heard of the band Chase? Janice, that's very. I think I have, and I just have to do the research. But probably, I'll definitely now that you put that in the comment, I'm gonna check that out. Let's see. I switch. Okay. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I switch back and forth with what is fun that day. You know what? That's perfectly cool. Yeah, Michael B. Exactly. It's whatever. See, here's the thing with improvisation. It's that moment in time, and that's what makes it special. And sometimes it's very, very difficult to duplicate that because you're not just duplicating notes. You're trying to duplicate that feel, and sometimes it's not always easy. Yeah, I definitely do that, Janice. Yep. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. But yeah, that is a good point. Yeah. Oh, let's see. Who is Chase Daniels? Yeah, Hans, I know I've heard that name before. Now I'm gonna be like really when I check out the research, I'm like, oh, I know about this. I know about this band or this music. Yeah. Sometimes things are in the back burner. There's so much you're doing. There, there was a band, and I don't know exactly where they're from, called Barclay James Harvest. And I remember I was a little kid. This was, I think I had already started playing. So I could have been, well, maybe it was just before I started taking lessons in grade school. My friend gave me a cassette tape called Time Honored Ghosts, and it came out like 1975. It's nothing that would be impressive musically from the standpoint of what we've been having the last 30 some years with guitar playing, but it was just really creative, and because it reminded me of my friends. Can't describe. Look them up. Yeah, I'll definitely look them up. There's also this band called Electrical or Electric Outlet that they're like jazz rock fusion. And then of course, then you have the progressive rock and progressive metal bands like Fates Warning. Opeth is on that vein because they'll go through these different types of musical courses. You know, of course, bands like Yes and Rush, and I think it was Gentle Giant and uh, God, how can I forget the name of this band? Oh my God, King Crimson and all that whole prog rock stuff that came out and continued, and then of course like bands like Symphony X, and there's a lot more. Then you got like then it starts to blend in with the symphonic metal bands like Nightwish and Epica, and then Rhapsody of Fire, and that, and of course Dream Theater. To be honest with you, I like Dream Theater, but when we would see them live, I don't know. There's just something about their tone. There's something that's going on. Maybe it's just the places they've been playing at, and it could be the sound people messing with them. This happens where it feels like you're in a drone, and it's like, okay, it's not distinguished. They actually sound better when I watch them on YouTube than when I've seen them in concert. And it's not their performance; it's just the overall sound. So it could be, you know, if you got a promoter that's kind of like got a bug up his rectum, and you know, when you're on these doing these shows with multiple bands, My band's gonna sound better than your band. You know, it's like that attitude. It's like, here we go. No matter what level, you're gonna always have that. But yeah, I remember we seen him with Joe Satriani, and it was like, wow, man. It was. I think maybe they even caught it too, because the performance was not like right there, you know, like. And then I remember this just before I met Deb. It's like what 1990, summer of '97, I think it was. We saw me and my friends saw um, Fate's Warning, and they just came out with that album, A Pleasant Shade of Gray. They had no opening band. I thought they were the opening band, and the song, one song was an hour long in 12 parts, but it was very creative. And then of course they did their other stuff. They had a good song. It was at the House of Blues, downtown Chicago. Uh, yeah, yeah. I am listening to Get It On, kind of like Blood, Sweat. Yep, and Tears. Oh, so Hans, you probably got him on already. That's cool. Yeah, I'll definitely go check them out. Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Janice, for sharing that with us because you find new music. That's one. I'll tell you what. That's one thing. What's so cool with YouTube. It's a catch 22, as we know, but the good side of the catch 22 is music that would never get airplay, never get a chance. Now the world sees. And you know what? When people have start to say, "Oh my God, there's this 12-year-old kid or this 9-year-old kid," or this, they just cut the unbiblical cord, they just smacked the ass, and the kid's on the drum set. Man, you got, oh, is this great? What people don't realize, you always had that. But the problem was, mainstream media would never show it unless it was serving their best interests, and then they'll show it. But you have no idea how many good, great musicians got drastically overlooked because they never got a fair shot with the media. So now with social media, YouTube, and the internet and everything, it's a different world. And now you're seeing, virtuosos, and then you're seeing levels of skill being up the notch. You know what I mean? So this is what I consider the friendly competition, where it's like, okay, that inspired this person. Oh, I'll check out what they're doing now. That comes back and inspires me to take it to another level, but not to put that person down, but just inspires. You feed off of each other, and you just build yourselves up. That's the friendly competition. You don't try to tear a person down. You're just trying to, build up on it. Uh, Horns. Always wanted to add horns. Yeah, there's certain things you could do with horns. Trombone way back in the, oh, you played trombone way back in the day. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check them out. Definitely gonna check them out. The thing is, when you got some of these bands that were popular in the late '70s and early '80s, like Earth, Wind, and Fire. The funny thing is, a lot of us rockers, when we were, the whole disco and rock battle, and when Steve Dahl back in Chicago, Chicago radio DJ on the Loop, Chicago Loop, when at Comiskey Park blew up all the disco records. There was this big battle between rock and disco music, okay? But now, when you look back at it from a musician's point of view, if you were to listen to some of those disco songs, what they, I'm taking an educated guess on this, but to me, it sounds like what they were doing, they were getting inspired by the fusion, because back in the '70s, the whole underground fusion movement was getting huge, and you had your jazz purists that hated it, but not all of them. Some of them they thought was cool. Miles Davis, he was a jazz trumpeter, and then he got into the fusion, and was blending rock music. And what it did was it started bringing a lot of musicians together as a whole, and started another creative style of music. So that's what I mean with these disco bands. To me, it sounded like they were borrowing from the fusion. Then you get like bands like Earth, Wind, and Fire, and you got the horn section, Blood, Sweat, and Tears of the horn section, and it seems like they were drawing influences from Weather Report and other bands like that. And this is what I mean when you take these chord progressions that add major and minor seventh chords, and sometimes a major ninth chord, which that's the sound of a major ninth chord. A lot of times it gets used almost like in bossa nova. But that's a major ninth chord. Then you got your major seventh chord, then minor seventh chords, major seventh, minor seventh. Really not hard chords, but it's just the way they sound. And to me, from a melodic point of view, I'm able to come up with these melodies simply by arpeggiating those chords. So let's say if I'm doing a major seven, a D major seven, to a D flat minor seven. Now, see, I'm going to mess up. Watch this. I'm able to come up with some of these melodies just basically around the chords. So one of the songs I have, Chillaction, it's a D major seventh, D flat minor seven, B minor seven, D flat minor seven, or C sharp minor seven, then to an F sharp minor. Then what I call my lead-in note is a C sharp minor 7, D minor 7, now even though I'm playing the D major 7 down the fifth fret, I come to my 9th fret to arpeggiate a D minor, a F sharp minor. Now, I land on a note A on my 10th fret, and in that region right there would be where I could have you could also play a D major 7 in that area right there. I don't notice these things until after I look at them. I start playing around and start hearing these things, and if they fit, I use them, So, but I'm definitely gonna check all that out. Yeah, that's the Sid Han solo. They do. They open up all these possibilities because here's what I like about using these chords. I could play with a cleaner tone, or I could play with an overdrive. I could add a little bit speed bursts in there, or I could ride on just a real nice melody and with a lot of sustain. Or I could arpeggiate, like the muted arpeggiation. Like when I'm opening up with some of this, I'll do the muting on the F sharp. On the D major 7. Now it works great with the Les Paul or the Ibanez Artist with my toggle switch in the middle using both pickups. Clean sound with the chorus. It works great. And then I just take it from there. It's whatever I start feeling. Age of Aquarius. Yeah, Michael B. Oh my God. Yep. That's an old song right there, but that is a perfect example. A lot of that stuff in the 70s, early to mid 70s, we used to get played on AM radio. That stuff was very, very creative. Very creative. And it just had this certain feel. That could have been even late 60s, early 70s. But I remember hearing all that stuff on the AM radio, and it's like it just had this certain tone to it, Yep, F sharp. Oh, it's F sharp minor. Maybe it's F sharp major 7. I have to hear the song again. I mean, I could hear it a little bit in my head. That's like there was another song called Day by Day. And I got the chord progression written down. I think it said G minor 7 to F major 7. C major 7, B minor 7, I think A minor 7 with open string. And the rest, I mean, like I said, I got the chord progression written down. When I was playing at La Corte Bistro, when I first got down here, I would play that progression a lot. And it just had this really nice feel to it. Yep. And I'm going to definitely check that out too, yeah. But yeah, you're right, Michael. You're right. And that's why a lot of that era of music had that feel. And what I do appreciate about the older bands in that time, people were trying to get creative with what, because these chord progressions, they've been around. It's just a matter of people putting it together and then putting their spin on those chord progressions and coming up with certain timing in that. But what was so unique about those times, nobody was trying to sound like everybody else. They really were trying to have their own identity. And that's why those bands and those musicians have such a long staying power. They'll stand the test of time. You take bands like bands from Fleetwood Mac and even the early Fleetwood Mac with Peter Green, and then the Fleetwood Mac that we know now. They were different than Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin was different than the Rolling Stones. They were different than Journey. They were different than, Seals and Croft. We had all of this stuff that was different. But yet they were we liked them all equally, And I think that's what's being missed. And I try to use that analogy with my friends that are down here. Because when I run into some of these people, and it's usually at the music store, or sometimes at the gigs, and I'm loading up and the stream is shut off. It's always with the stream shut off. I mean, it's just, I guess my luck, I don't know. But we'll get talking and they'll ask me about, I had people ask me, well, when you play covers, do you play them exact? And I just tell them no. Unless I have to, if I have to play something exact, then yeah, I'll do that, But at some point, I'm not focusing on 100% perfection on that. And what I mean by that is, I'm not going to try to recreate that unless I have to. Then it's a different situation. Then it's a game on for that. And the reason being is, it's someone else's work. I can't play it better than them because they're the ones that created it. And no matter how perfect it may appear to be, it's never going to be 100% perfect because I did not create it. They did. It's their creation. It's part of their heart and soul. So I remember I told that to this one guy, and he got it. He understood what I was talking about. But his friend was saying, yeah, but you had to play here and to play there. I said, well, you're right about that in part, not 100% though. And then he asked me, well, what do you mean by that? I said, because you got to understand, for every person that comes to the bars to see a Jimmy Buffett cover or whatever cover, that could be replaced with someone that likes maybe jazz fusion or maybe likes blues or maybe just likes folk music. And the reason why you don't see that is because those people that like those styles of music, they don't come out when the bands are playing because they know they're not going to hear what they really want to hear. When we did this gig up the road, now I got to contact the guy again because I know they got hit with the hurricane. So he was cool. He was a real nice guy. And if he wants to give me another gig there, fine. If not, no problem. We're still friends. Yeah, I still respect him. Not a problem. We got in there to do the gig, and I wear the hat and all that, just it kind of looks cool, okay, just for rocking out. But I remember when I was walking in, had the guitar set up. We were doing our sound check, and I didn't do much to reveal what I'm gonna play, just enough to get my sound. But then when I came back after I changed and everything, I come back and something like, oh yeah, it's Leonard Skinner, or yeah, it's this or that, and of course that's not really what I'm gonna play. And maybe they were not too pleased with what I was doing. One guy said, "Oh yeah, sing it, sing it, sing it." And of course, I just smiled at him, and I was playing the vocal melodies. I'm not gonna sing. I gotta think. I can't sing. I don't want to sing. That's not my thing. I'd rather be the. I will wait a table before I sing. And that's only for me. I love playing instrumental music. That's my passion. If I don't do it, then okay, I'll play as the waiter. I really don't care because I don't like phoning things up. That I can't do that. If other people could play actor and that's fine. That's not me. That's not me at all. So I just be true to what I believe in. That's all. Anyways, so I think it was one or two tables left because they didn't like what I was playing, and that's fine. But it got replaced by 3 and 4 different tables, and then their response was like, finally, someone's playing something that we like to listen to. Because it's always being assumed that whatever the playlist is working, I understand that's fine. But no one wants to take that chance. You don't have to do it on a prime night. You could do it on an off night, but at least advertise it. And these people might be pleasantly surprised when these people come out. They're like, hey, now we have, let's say, blues night, or we have jazz night, or something like that. Now we get a chance to watch the people play what we like. Whether it's their originals or they're doing spins on some of the old classics, but it's something that we enjoy. And I think if more and more club owners would open up to that again, you'd see a music scene really come back strong. But like I said, down here for now, it's going to take so much time because after the hurricanes and all that, so I'm not even going to harp on that. But yeah. And again, for people who love doing covers, I say continue doing them because it keeps that music alive. And if that's your passion, you play your passion. You do what is in your heart. But it's been pretty interesting with some of the people I've talked with, the other musicians, and they're like, man, you're kind of gutsy because, you're kind of going against the grain and you might not get that much work. And I don't, we've done so many gigs. I was talking to Deb about this. We've already proved that we could get all this work. We came down here the first year, instantly, the first year, 150 gigs, boom. And the locals down here, they were telling me like, wow, how are you getting all this work? And even though it was repeated work, for them it took them a while. And then when they found out what I was playing, they were like, how are you doing this? And I would tell them, it's not so much me wanting to be different. It's just this is my passion. I love what I do, and I try to be good at what I do, and people will hear that. If your first instinct is to go out to be a crowd pleaser, you might disappoint yourself because that could be almost impossible to. You really do have to enjoy what you do, and those people, they see it. If they see you're having fun, they're gonna have fun. Let's see. There's very little on Chase on. Oh wow, Janice. So yeah, I'm gonna have some work cut out. But at least there might be something out on them. Yeah. When the moon is in the 7th house of sharp minor. Yeah, fifth dimension. That's right. Yep. You're right, Michael. 5th dimension. That's a classic right there, man. That is a classic. You don't hear stuff like that anymore. And it's maybe it'd be time now for things to start to make that shift back to it. They say music comes in cycles. Who knows? But yeah, see stuff like that because I would hear this stuff like on AM radio when I was a kid. And when I started getting hip to playing these major and minor seventh chords, it evoked those emotions. So that's why a lot of my originals are based off of that, because it reminds me of that time. Plus, it reminds me of after I graduated high school, when I met my friend Andy, we go to his house, and an Angel he was jamming with this another friend named Angel, and they were great guitar players, man. I met him at Chicago Music Company. I met Andy at Chicago Music Company back in '81, and he had an Ibanez Paul Stanley model guitar and a PV Classics 212 with the phase shifter. So that version was called I think it was called the Solo Series. You had the Classics, then you had the Heritage with 212s, and then you had the PV Special 130, which I had. I traded my Marshall for the Special 130. But basically, we were playing stuff, these type of chords, you know. And then just start a melody by arpeggiating part of the the major seven. A lot of times I'll hold off on the speed burst and just try to like build into it. It's whatever I'm feeling and hearing at that moment. So I try not to like force it, you know. But so far it looks like we are calm right now. I don't know what that means, but I gotta check the time, and if I'm getting close enough to turn those fans on, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. But I thank you so much, guys. I didn't mean to be on this long. I really appreciate it. I just thought I'd see if I could go live and kind of share with you what we're going through right now. And it's really not much of a nowhere near as Ian. That was never want to go through that one again. But we will be putting those, like I said earlier, we'll be putting those videos together because I got them all on the Zoom camera, and we're just got a lot of editing, but you're gonna see a lot of destruction. When you look at it, you're like, holy crap. Like right now, if you just type in Fort Myers Beach and all those surrounding areas, you'll see. It's like, and the one thing that you cannot get on the video, as opposed to when you're right there, is that smell. The smell of sewer, the smell of like rebar, iron rebars. That smell of like, I don't call it like rotten metal. It's a combination of that. And it's not everywhere, but there are certain sections. You get that whiff and it's like, whoa, roll that window up. Or you're walking and you got your hand over your nose. Thank you so much, Janice. I really appreciate that. I found a good article. I'll send it to you if I can. I appreciate that, Janice. Thank you so much. Well, I really appreciate everyone tuning in. Hans, Michael B, Janice Lala, Old Man Dan, Michael B, and like I said, Hans 36 Solo. I'll be giving you guys a call, definitely, Hans, definitely. I'll send you a message, and maybe we'll shoot the breeze. Maybe we can. I don't know if we can do it on Sunday because we might have to get up on the roof and look at something on the roof here. But I'll definitely do this. Still send you a message. Yeah, and Buck Lester, Pooh Ninja, Joe Wentz, Sean, Aaron. Yeah, everyone. I really appreciate it. Rebel Rocker. I really appreciate all you guys. You guys are the best. I'll make sure. Guitar shocker, yeah, definitely. So yeah, we'll be. I don't know if we're gonna do anything live tomorrow, or might see if I could post up a video tomorrow. But I know we got 2 shows on Saturday. We'll stream the show 3 to 5. And we're gonna definitely have a little bit more on the heavier side, so it'll be a little bit fun. Anyways, my friends, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. We love you all. Till next time, you stay strong, safe, and true. Rock on, and God bless you guys. Take care. Thanks for watching.